I'm meeting my then accountant, and I had problems with him. I was paying far too much tax,
right.
And I don't like getting out of tax. But the problem was he wasn't making allowances for me being self-employed and all this kind of stuff. And I seemed to be paying double VAT. I was paying stuff on services.
What sort of job was he doing, this guy?
Well, do you know what?
Have you dismissed him now?
Well, I was about to. I stayed with him out of sympathy because the guy was, and the most dreadful story led to his demise. And he turned up in a suit with a food stain on it, and I thought, this guy... And you know the reason he turned up for this meeting?
Why?
He wanted me to pay him the next quarterly fees, because he used to pay him every quarter, he used to do VAT and all that.
You paid him in advance?
He wanted to pay in advance because he didn't have the rent on his flat.
Oh, dear.
And do you know why he was living in a flat?
I don't know, did he get divorced or something?
Well, it's worse than that. It's the most terrible story.
Yeah.
He had a big house in Essex.
Right.
Found out that his wife was becoming intimate with the gardener. Rogerisation was taking place.
Lady Chatterley's lover.
A real Lady Chatterley's lover.
Right.
She then just exercised her rights and said...
That wasn't all she was exercising.
No, exactly. And she exercised her rights. She said, I want a divorce.
Yeah.
I'm leaving you.
Right.
I'm going to set up...
She just took him to the cleaners?
She got the house.
Right.
I don't know how the divorce thing worked out, but she got the house because she managed to find the money to pay him.
Right. So she paid him off?
I don't know how it worked, but the most terrible story then unfolded. He was quite nice to her, so didn't demand half the house.
Right.
But when she said she wasn't going there, she was staying, but she wanted him out, he agreed to leave.
Right.
So he left and went and rented...
Gardener moved in, presumably?
The gardener moved in and they got married, right? And he went and rented a house in the same village.
Yeah.
And then, tragically, 6 months later, after the wife married the gardener, she died of breast cancer.
Oh, my goodness.
The gardener inherited the house.
No.
The house was worth over £1 million.
Goodness gracious.
The accountant got nothing. He was living in a rented flat and had to walk past his old house every day to the station to get his train into London to work in his accountant's office.
Did they have kids?
Didn't know. Well, yeah, they did, but they were grown up and they were away and all that. I mean, this guy was in his 50s now, if not 60.
What an awful story.
A terrible story, because then his business fell to pieces because he didn't have any money to pay for his office in London.
Yeah.
And he was literally on his uppers.
Right.
Sadly, because he'd become so inefficient and confused and was hopeless, I had to give him the boot and...
At the end of this terrible story of woe, just to add insult to injury, you fired him.
I did, yeah.
You were his only client.
Well, I was actually. I was the only client left, but he'd become hopelessly incompetent, and I did feel sorry.
Sweetheart.
No, I did feel
sorry for him.
I did feel a bit sorry for him.
So, did you tell him with his stained suit when you met him that not only were you not going to give him the advance on the next quarter, but actually you were going to dispense with his services? And by the way, if you want to buy a watercress and a cucumber sandwich, you're on your own, matey.
I didn't at that meeting because I didn't have the heart to do it. I just got home and sent him an email. Yeah,
you sent him an email afterwards?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I just said...
What a great guy.